Hello, I'm Mike Papa Foxtrot.
And I'm 3T.
This is Freeloaders, which usually is our regular look at what is or has been free to download from the PlayStation Network.
We download the games and give them a play and see if they're worth the download, bandwidth and time.
In this, the first season, we looked at Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, Rime, Bloodborne, Trackmania Turbo, Beyond Two Souls, XCOM 2, Absolver, Mafia 3, Destiny 2, Friday the 13th, The Game, Bulletstorm, Full Clip Edition, and Onrush.
So, let's have a look at all the games in order. Of all the games offered via the PSN Plus system, which one do you think was most worthy of your time in 2018?
Yeah, it's difficult because there are lots of them that are all fitting into different categories. I would say, for me, I have to say the one that was most satisfying was Rime. So, for me, I would put that there. It was an adventure puzzle game, if you remember, and I think that was the most satisfying. So, what about you? Which one did you think was the most satisfying?
Okay, so satisfaction-wise, I would say it's XCOM 2 for me.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh,
because
that's the game I enjoyed the most. But anyway,
there'll be some overlap. I mean, I audibly did not enjoy a lot of the games we played, as anybody who watches the previous episodes will know. But yeah, I think it's a very satisfying play. It's just something that we have come back to more than probably most other games. It's somewhere between XCOM and Mafia 3. For satisfaction, because Mafia 3 is very satisfying to play, but XCOM 2 would swing it for me if I was just deciding to play one for fun.
Well, you see, for me, the game I think engaged us both the most, and the one that I think was the most fun was XCOM 2. I think that was the one that was the most engaging with us both together. The problem with Mafia is a good game, but it's very much a solo game. You have to play on your own, and that was not really our gaming style these days. We like to play games together, and then I mean the other problem, of course, is that Mafia is a very big game, so it takes up quite a lot of hard drive space.
Yeah, so I think I'll give it to XCOM 2 for purely satisfaction, because it's a game that it pleases me on several levels. I get to build a team, I get to play a board game with you. It's a tabletop board game, it's
also a game where we can have a conversation while we're playing. It's not all like the problem with like when you're playing first person shooters and things that are all like in your face all the time. It is a little bit more relaxing, though. Yes. We did play that one where we had the 60-second timer on each move that didn't make it quite so relaxing.
No, but as a satisfying experience, I'm going to give it to XCOM 2. I'm going to try to have some variety in my answers.
Is that the game that you think you've played the most?
Yes. Oh, definitely, without a doubt. Of those 12 games that we've downloaded in 2018, that is the game I have put the most time into, without a doubt.
See, for me, I think I put the most time, most individual time, I think I put into it. Again, the problem with Trackmania Turbo is it's not really a sort of a. It's a multiplayer game, but it isn't. And I think I've written down most time and most comeback frustration, Trackmania Turbo, and I think that Trackmania Turbo takes it just. You see, we play XCOM together. So if I'm just want to pick something up and try to clear it, it was Trackmania Turbo. There's been a lot of Mafia. I've played a lot of Mafia. But I would say Trackmania Turbo, which is both one of the most frustrating games I have played in a long time, but frustrating in a good way. It's one of those games where I can spend like a Sunday afternoon racing and doing everything perfect and just rage quit in anger that I can't get this, like, I'm 0.3 seconds outside, walk away, start the game up after an hour, and then complete the track, and then go, oh, okay, it was just muscle memory, relaxation required. Yeah. And I like that. That's quite interesting. It is an interesting game. And I think it's only because Onrush came on the scene very recently, because Onrush was, of course, game number 12 of Season 1. And Onrush pushed it away, because Onrush became that lovely game where it not only is you and me racing, but it's also you're trying to kill things and destroy things, and I quite like that. I haven't played that enough, though.
No,
it's not a game that's been started up enough. But I did like. But Trackmania Turbo is irritatingly frustrating in the right way. Let's look at the most annoying games then, because let's get that out of the way, because not all of these games were gems. I mean, your mileage may vary, but let's go to one which I liked and at the same time I didn't like, and I'm going to put it in my category of most annoying controls. Open brackets, Dance Revolution, but good story. Beyond Two Souls. What do you think? What was the worst game for you?
Absolver. I really didn't like Absolver. Absolver was it didn't know what it wanted to be. It's like it was trying to be a fighting game, but it also wanted to be Zelda, and it ended up just being a horrible, awful experience. It didn't help, to be fair, that I had some kind of laggy crap going on as well, but there's just it was bland and empty, and I did not care for it.
It's interesting because I've just scanned my dashboard. Not on there. Not installed. Dumped. Deleted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I dumped it. I think I dumped it. Hang on. How much? I think it was the Great Mafia 3 dump, where I had to erase a lot of things from my dashboard just to download it. And that went. Actually, I think I dumped it before the month was even over, if I'm honest.
I mean, for me, I didn't like Absolver. It wasn't. I enjoyed it while I was. I have to say, it was a mixed match. I enjoyed it while I was playing it, but it was a little bit like wishy-washy. And I suppose it comes down to its controls as well. It was just like I didn't really have much control over how I was fighting. It was just it was like Whereas the problem I had with the problem I had with Beyond Two Souls is that it was too handholdy, and too much like Dance Revolution. But I have to say, I did enjoy it, and I do keep promising myself that I'm going to go back to Beyond Two Souls. It's still installed. In fact, that's the next question. What is still on your dashboard?
Well, my dashboard currently has XCOM 2, Onrush, Bulletstorm, Friday the 13th, and that's it. Of those games, though, that's the one I've kept. Oh, Rime is still on there as well. Sorry, yes, that's a bit further back, but I haven't played it for a long time.
What happened to Mafia 3?
It is sitting in my library, and I may go back to it at some point. But it was just it was too big. It was a huge download, and I needed space to be able to download other things. So it's not been removed for any reason other than space.
Here's the thing. My dashboard organises itself in last time the game was played.
Yeah.
So this is what's on mine in the last time it was played. XCOM 2 is still on there and still ready to go. Onrush, probably because it was game number 12 of Season 1.
Same,
Mafia 3 is still here because I've got loads of room. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition is still here. And Friday the 13th, the game is still here. That's one I would like to go back to because that intrigued me. I don't know. The thing with Bulletstorm is a fun pick up and throw it and shoot about and run about game, and I quite like that. Friday the 13th, I still don't know if I like it or not. It's one of those games where when I was playing it, I loved it, and when I sit back and think about it, did I like it or not? But it's a game which I definitely want to come back to and have another look. Then we've got Trackmania Turbo, which is sitting here, which I think just hasn't been started up because other games have started to get in the way. That's the problem. There's only so many hours you can sit in front of a console.
Yeah.
Beyond Two Souls is still installed because I'm planning to come back to that at some point. Rime is installed, even though I have 100% completion and a platinum trophy. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is still here because I actually found it probably the game with, I think, the most content.
Okay, well that's a category as well then. The most content. Go on, explain what you mean by most content there.
Well, it had lots of replayability, lots of different things that you can do. You can do the same thing, you can achieve the same objective in different ways. And so there's more than one linear path to get through to actually do things. Like the thing with I can't remember which one it was. Let me just scroll back and find it. Was it Bulletstorm? Yeah, Bulletstorm just seemed a little bit limited in its maps. Friday the 13th seemed quite limited. I suppose technically you could argue that Mafia has a lot of content as well. But Deus Ex, first of all, it's an adventure puzzle solving game where you're trying to solve puzzles. It's not just about shooting people in the face. In fact, part of the game is trying to do things in stealthy ways. And so for me, I think it had the most content. That was the way I look at it. I mean, probably it doesn't. Probably Mafia has more content because it's got a richer, wider, more sandbox open world. But even though to a certain extent with Deus Ex you are on strings, it doesn't feel like you're on strings, and it lets you find your own way through the maze of strings it's created. Maybe that's the best way of describing it. Okay. So yeah. What about you? Which one do you think had the most content?
Most content, I would have to give it to Mafia 3, I would say, just purely because it's got a very involved story, and I'd probably, if I hadn't have been downloading other things, I'd probably have left it on there and have been dipping into it up until now. But it's as I say, purely a space-saving thing. Content-wise, it's a fun world just to drive around and listen to the radio. You know, you can do so much in Mafia 3, and I think as we have been in the past, at least, very heavy GTA 5 players, it's just a more grown-up version of that kind of game.
I think it actually is, and also you don't have people. If you're playing online, you don't have the people coming through and just destroying you with an aircraft for no apparent reason.
Absolutely.
Instead, you've got the racist police trying to kill you. Oh, hang on, that is Grand Theft Auto, isn't it?
It's the same.
Anyway,
what about? Here's another category for you. Which one do you think is the best value for money? If you could have chosen to have joined the PlayStation Plus for just 1 month of these, which one would you have joined it for, having played them now?
It's a very good question. It's a flip up between probably Mafia. It's probably Mafia, or maybe Deus Ex. It's between those two for networking. For if I was going to be social with it, then it would be XCOM 2. Let me ask you the question, then flip the question on you. So which one would you have picked?
If I only had 1 month's worth, because obviously when you're not in PlayStation Plus, you can't play the game. For 1 month, I think it would be Rime. Because in a month, I could have gone through the whole game and got my money's worth probably from my monthly subscription, if you see what I mean.
Oh, I see. I mean, I've already completed it. I've got a platinum trophy, so I'm all right.
Yeah, you might have mentioned that.
Quite proud of me, platinum trophy.
You should be.
Let me flip the question. Which one would you have regretted downloading, apart from Absolver?
Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No hesitation.
Why? Because Bloodborne is... See, for me, you see. Oh, why? Okay, why Bloodborne? Why Bloodborne?
Because if I wanted to die horribly hundreds of times, there are probably games I could play without having to have a PlayStation Plus account. I just didn't get on with it. It really is not my kind of game. I know it's a game that you have to put a lot of work into and you have to care about. And it didn't grab me quickly enough. All I got was frustration, pain, and the fun of listening back to us playing and being crap.
But XCOM 2, you have to put a lot of work and effort in to build teams and things. But it's a different type of effort, I suppose.
But it is a different type of effort. Bloodborne, the effort with Bloodborne is look how many times you have to learn from dying in it. It is a different kind of frustration, really. I don't find XCOM 2 frustrating. I find Bloodborne, I don't know, it's just not my kind of game. I'm sure there will be huge Bloodborne fans who would say what an idiot I am for thinking that, but it wasn't my kind of thing. If that was my first introduction to PlayStation Plus, and that was the only game they'd offered, I would have probably not been very impressed.
See, I can't say Bloodborne enticed me into play a lot. I found it thoroughly frustrating and slightly annoying. And I've got friends who tell me that Bloodborne is the best game on the planet, and I can't see it myself. So yeah, I mean, for me, that's sort of quite low down near the bottom of the game. I'm afraid the one that disappointed me the most, though, of all of the games, the one that I was most disappointed with, and let's see if you agree with me, Destiny 2. Biggest disappointment of the year, I think, for me.
Yeah, Destiny 2. I don't really know what the hype's all about with Destiny, to be honest. Destiny 2, running around a farm aimlessly.
Same sort of thing, but it's the same sort of thing with Bloodborne. I mean, Bloodborne was hyped, and then I didn't find it interesting, but Destiny 2 disappointed me.
yeah, it was. It was disappointing, that's the right word. It's just... It's not the worst game in the world. I could happily, if it was the only first-person shooter that we had access to, I'm sure we'd make do.
We made do. I mean, we rocked it. We were having fun when we got in it and ran about. But we were making... The problem is, we were making our own bloody fun.
You have to, because the official fun the game wants you to have is not fun. But that's just an opinion. I mean, going back to the value for money question and putting a slightly different take on it, if you had to buy one of these, if you had to spend money on one of these games, which one would you buy?
If I had to spend money,
if you had to choose one of the 12, and for any category, for any reason,
do I have friends and can I be online?
For any reason, online, single player, any aspect of these games, which one do you pick off a shelf and say, yes, please, I will have this over the other 11?
It's probably Deus Ex.
Really?
Probably. I really like Deus Ex. Yeah, I got into it. I really got into it. In fact, I'd love to go back and pick up and play again. I enjoyed the slight problem-solving nature of it and going through. That's not to say I didn't like Rime. I liked Rime, but Rime was fun, but Deus Ex had a sci-fi nature to it, and what I liked is that I could do the same thing. I could try a level on loud, or I could try a level on quiet. It just gave me that sort of. It was my, I like. You could. It was a little bit more flexible. What about you?
It's your jam.
It's my jam. Yeah.
For all different playing abilities. It would be XCOM, because even the single player is fun in XCOM. I don't. I like board games. I love board games, and I find it difficult to entice people to play some types of games that I like. So the ability to play a single-player miniature board game is brilliant, and also then to know that if you're online and you've got it too, we can have a comfortable half-hour catch-up and chat, and also play a really good tactical battle game. Is really appealing.
And
I would buy that now.
And be chatting about it.
Yeah, we can.
I probably. I mean, the thing is, if you said 2 games, then XCOM would be the next game, and then if you said 3 games, it would probably then be Mafia, and then if you said 4 games, it would probably be Rime, and that's my list building there as we go. And I haven't thought much past that. If I could swap any of these games for other games, then the ones at the bottom are Bloodborne. That's not actually at the bottom. The one that's actually at the bottom for me is Destiny 2, then probably Absolver, and then Bloodborne, and then I don't really know after that, because I quite like them. And like the game that, like I said, I keep going back to out of just sheer bloody damn frustration is Trackmania Turbo.
That surprises me, you see.
Surprises me. I'm a completionist, 3T, so I've got to finish all the tracks and get all the medals. You know, that's my completion. That's my completionist in me. You know, you're a completionist yourself. You're a collector, and so I kind of like. And that's the one that I keep coming back to, just to try and get all of the trophies. And yet the other ones, I don't necessarily care about all of the trophies. So it's interesting, and I think that tells you quite a lot about a game. But what I liked about Deus Ex is that, like I said, different ways, different things. You get trophies. You can get a trophy for doing something loud. You get a trophy for doing something quiet. I quite like Mafia in the fact that it was very much open sandbox, that you can more or less just do what you want, and you don't have to. You can just drive around. XCOM, like you said, we can just pick up and play with you and have fun, and so I've got a couple of little notes that I've actually made.
Okay.
About this, because this, of course, is our little retrospective for season 1 of Freeloaders, and I just want to have a shout out to the most difficult game to produce, or the most difficult review to produce because of limitations of the PlayStation and Share Factory. Was Friday the 13th, the game. That was actually the hardest episode to put together because of resynchronizing everything, and also trying to do an episode that was longer than an hour and bigger than the actual size that the PlayStation would allow. And this is a call out to Sony, if you're listening. Why are there limitations on your capturing system and your editing system? Why, oh why, oh why? Because Freeloaders is made basically with free tools. The whole concept is to keep everything absolutely free. So we're using, free sound converters to convert things to MP3s. We're using, basically free video editing graphic editing program like Irfan View. The video editor is Share Factory, which is built into the PlayStation 4. We're bouncing audio backwards and forwards to each other and videos with WeTransfer. And basically,
the only money is on the PlayStation Plus account.
Yeah, and the only exception to that was our special, which was Freeloaders A Way Out, which you paid for and I freeloaded.
There you go, which is in the spirit, isn't it?
Yeah, and the only other bit of software I had to break out was a video playback program called VLC, which very kindly allowed me to stitch 2 very large parts of Friday the 13th, the game, together. That was the episode that I worked the most on. I'm not the most proud. It's not my most proudest episode of editing, but please go and watch it, because it took me more time than all the others combined. And I think that is our little look back at all of the games of basically 2018, which is season 1 of Freeloaders. Do you have anything else to add, Freety?
No, I don't think so. I think overall it's been a good variety of different games and game types. It's a good service. Again, we are not affiliated with PlayStation or PlayStation Network or Sony at all. But it is a nice thing that to be able to download these games and play games that are outside of our comfort zone. I hope that everybody who has watched has enjoyed and will continue to enjoy through 2019 as we begin Season 2. And that episode is either available or will be available very shortly after this episode goes live.
And so that was Freeloaders Season 1. We hope that you'll join us for Season 2. And so until then, I'm Mike Papa Foxtrot.
And I'm 3T, and thank you for joining us on our journey of free-to-play games through the PlayStation Network.